felt like a family. And that kind of bring me to just this week, so many guys getting let go from the company. We truly are family, and to see guys like Gallows, Anderson, those guys, man, they've put in a lot of work, and it's unfortunate this time that we're going through right now. Some guys got to take a hit. Some guys got to suffer, but I'm sure those guys are going to bounce back. I was looking at a tweet that Cassius Ono put out, Chris Hero is back, and a lot of these guys are going to be able to still go out there and continue to do what they do. It's just going through this time right now. I know it feels a certain way, especially when something like that happens, but like I said, I'm sure those guys are going to get right back on the horse as soon as this thing blow over. And look like this thing about to kind of blow over here in Texas here next week. Look like we're about to open back up. So look like guys will be able to get back out there and get back to work.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things to where you've seen it. I heard yesterday Neiman Marcus is filing bankruptcy, and Macy's might be next. And you think about all these companies that are going under, and it wasn't an easy week for WWE. It wasn't easy to release these guys. Obviously, no one wants to let somebody out of their job, especially during this time. And some of the names, though, I mean, they were shocking. And I, sometimes when you see these releases, I guess for me, when I would look at it as a fan, some of them you're not so shocked by. You're like, okay, well, they weren't really on TV a whole lot. I guess they've been around for a while. Okay, I could see that. I guess I understand that. And then some of them really catch you off guard. Like the Rusev one was a little bit one that caught me off guard. Gallows and Anderson was one that definitely caught me off guard. Kurt Angle, I didn't expect either. But then there are those names sometimes you're like, wow, I can't believe that. But a lot of these guys, think about this. Steve Austin's run in WWE was like 7 years or something like that, right? He came in the early 90s, and then he was out by 2003, right? So he's had like a 7-8 year run or something to that effect. Rock too. And you look at some of these guys, they were around for like 14 years, 15 years in the company. A guy like a Heath Slater, like Zack Ryder. These guys have been around for 15 years almost in the company. That's like a really good run when you think about, hey, I want to have my dreams to be a professional wrestler for WWE, and I got to do it for 15 years. Obviously, no one ever wants to leave, and no one wants to get let go. But when you kind of look at it, hindsight 2020, it's like, wow, a lot of these guys had a great career. I mean, I remember Zack Ryder. We were talking about WrestleMania 32 when he won the Intercontinental Championship, and that 101,000 people was so shocked and unexpected. And that was one of those WrestleMania moments for him. And I didn't want to see any of these guys obviously lose their jobs. And some of them are more shocking than others, but some of them had great careers to kind of hang their hat on, and they made their mark. And here's the thing about Heath Slater. A couple years ago, we remember Drew McIntyre and Jinder Mahal were both a part of 3MB with Heath Slater. They both got cut. They both got brought back, and they both became WWE champions. So, I mean, if you're looking at the math for Heath Slater, it might not be such a, maybe this is a good thing,
Yeah, man. It's crazy times we're going through right now. Even, I sit back and it's the first time I've talked about it. I haven't said anything about it since this whole pandemic thing kicked off, and reality of wrestling. We've been shut down for since the beginning of this thing for the last couple of months, and man, no money coming in. It really is tough, and I wonder what's going to happen with reality of wrestling after this thing is all over with. Are we going to be able to pick back up and keep going just like we were before? It's really hard to say. One thing about reality of wrestling, if it did close down, we could reopen relatively quickly, just because we own everything. We own all our own cameras, we own our own rings. Only thing we don't own is our building. So starting over from that perspective is the only thing that I'm thinking about more than anything, and trying to keep reality of wrestling going, because I got a lot of young guys, a lot of young girls that still want to pursue it and have someone that can complete this journey, as well as working on their craft, as far as learning the the little bitty things, the knowledge of what the business is really all about. The business is not going anywhere. It's gonna continue to flourish. Like I said, once this thing blow over, I actually think it's going to be bigger than it was before. So just hopefully I'm keeping my fingers crossed that, somehow reality of wrestling can come out afloat just like we did back, when the stock market crashed, back in 2008. We took a hard hit. We thought we was going to have to close the doors, but everything worked out for us. And I'm just praying to God that, reality of wrestling can keep, doing what we've been doing now for the past 15 years. So, guys, support your reality of wrestling.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've also been thinking about that too. Just all these things that you don't think about, these some of these services and businesses that are being affected by this. And like I said, WWE, they're the big dog, obviously, in professional wrestling, but even they can't get away from it. I mean, not having any fans in the crowd, that's going to hurt. Not having that money coming in from touring, that's going to hurt. Not having the gates, not having the merch sales in the arenas, that's going to hurt. And
you know what? I want to throw an idea out there. Since we don't have fans in the arena, but we still have our cities, man. We still have people that's loving, watching WWE on a regular basis. Why aren't we having, WWE Monday Night Raw watch parties around the world, and film coming in from around the world with people still excited about, watching the show? I think that will pipe in some crowd noise. I think that would pipe in some excitement and still see people still active. So WWE, there's an idea for you right there. There's a lot of people out there that want to, be along, be a part of, the solution. And that's just making sure everything stay intact when this thing is all over with. So let's think about, creating some watch parties. I'm talking about in Detroit. I'm talking about in Chicago. I'm talking about Vegas. I'm talking about Houston. Every week, we just get 5 cities along to watch WWE, and I'm talking about it could be in some of the biggest clubs, the biggest bars around. Some small settings. We can't do it that big. I forgot about the social distancing, but we could definitely figure out somehow to actually make that happen. Yeah.
Yeah, even if everyone's doing it remotely, I saw some people floating that idea of fans watching remotely from home.
Yeah.
And reacting that way. I mean, there's always, here's the thing: the longer the thing goes, they're going to have to try to figure it out. But like you said, Texas seems like we're opening up pretty soon, and Florida's already got beaches open. So I don't know how smart that is, but that's not my call. But I want to go back though on these releases though for you. This is something that in the last few years we haven't had, but I remember it would seem to be like a week or two after WrestleMania, almost every year there would be 10 to 15 guys who would be let go, or girls that would be let go. When you were a part of the roster and those cuts would happen, I know that you've said before you always knew that you were talent and that you had a pretty secure spot. But what was the morale like backstage? Because obviously, as a performer and as a independent business owner yourself, hey, they're just doing what's best for business. They got to keep some money. They got to get cash flow in here. They're going into the end of the quarter, what have you. But as a talent, what is the morale like backstage? Does everyone feel down, even though they understand it's kind of like, we got to go out here and do a show, and my friend just lost his job? Or, I mean, what for you? How do you remember it?
I mean, show must go on. I mean, it's a job at the end of the day, and that's the only way I've ever looked at me being in the business. I've never looked at myself as a star, celebrity, or anything like that, even though I know I am. I look at myself in the mirror every day, and I'm just Junior. I'm still that same kid that grew up. Looking at me getting up and leaving in the house on Tuesday when I go to LA, when I go to do the pay-per-views or whatever. That's me just going to work. I put my suit on, I put my tie on, and I go to work. And I think about it like that on a day-to-day basis for the last 30 years almost. I've thought about it that way. I always thought, man, when is this ride going to be over with? When am I going to lose my value? And and they replace me. So I've always thought about that. Just because I've always looked at it as first and foremost job number one, nothing more. It's not playtime. It's not me going out and having fun on the weekends or anything like that. It's going out there and creating a lifestyle for me and my family. More importantly than anything, I'm sure these guys didn't see it coming. It's one of those things to where, man, this was one that came out of the blue. But there again, you got to be able to adjust. You got to be able to, keep your head on straight. You got to be able to focus in times like this and say, okay, let me figure out what route am I going to go. And I've been seeing a lot of the guys, so far, just like Maria and Mike Bennett, just started a podcast. Like I say, Cash Azuno, he might have put Ono away, but Chris Hero is back. You got to be able to literally, you know, get tunnel vision in a situation like this. Me personally, I've never been in that position. Thank God. But if that time did come, that's why I got reality of wrestling. That's why we do the got the ESPN thing. That's why we doing the podcast. That's why comic book. GI Bro. I mean, and literally these are things that I just start thinking about here over the last year or so. These are the things that I've been thinking about since I was 30 years old. Is how am I going to exit the business in case anything happened? Preparation is the only luck that we're ever going to have. So I've been preparing for it. Like I say, I know these guys right now. It's one of those times where they're like, man, why me? But there again, this is an opportunity to really, really step out there and put yourself out there and create something. And, it's always going to be a route back, of course. But right now, it's really time to start creating and thinking about what's next.
And the bad thing though about it is I remember like we talked about Jinder Mahal. I remember when Jinder Mahal got released. He was living in Houston at the time, so it was just a phone call away. Hey, Book, can I come to Reality Wrestling? Boom, you're here. We have independence. We have everything going on. But now, and then even a few weeks ago, or a few months ago, when people get released, it's like, oh, maybe he's going to like what was the guy's name? Ty Dillinger. He gets released. Oh, I'm going over to AEW, right? But now, even though AEW is still running, it's like I'm sure they're having some issues not having that constant cash flow coming in from their gates, and they don't do live events anyway. But coming in from their live shows and whatnot, and maybe they're not in a position to pick up guys at this time. So it's kind of a different time for guys to get released because there are no independents going right now. AEW might not be in the financial situation to be able to pick everyone up, and they're not going to pick everyone up anyway. But they might not be able to pick you up right now. So it's kind of a weird time for these guys. And girls who did get let go to say, well, where do I go right now? There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to go right now. So it definitely does, it's a different situation than it would be in the past. But still, like you said, there's other things auxiliary around the squared circle that you might be able to get involved with, like a YouTube channel, a podcast, whatever you can for the interim. And hopefully by the summertime or whenever this thing blows over, we're back full force and we're running shows and we're making money again, and you have the independence to go to.
Yeah, I think what makes it so scary is, with the social distancing, them even opening the country back up. You wonder how long is it going to be before a stadium is, able to be filled. You wonder, when are people going to be able to go back to Vegas? That's what I'm wondering. When are we going to be able to get back to Vegas? You know what I mean?
We're trying to get that Fury Wilder 3.
I'm serious, so that's the part that is so sketchy that we really are antsy about and wondering, man, when are we really going to be able to, get back out there? And cash flow is very, very important in this life, man. We got to be making some money. And that's what we're thinking about more than anything. So we're thinking about, the crowds coming back. We're thinking about, being able to actually get on an airplane and, like a lot of these guys, they know they got money over in Japan waiting on them. They know that, but they got to be able to get on a plane first. They got to be able to, be able to. I'm sure the people in Japan, they're going to be able to want to make sure all these guys are safe coming into the country. So I'm sure guidelines are going to change. Just like 9/11, guidelines change. Just taking flights, our whole world turned upside down. After, certain, bombings happen in the world, our whole world turned upside down. I'm sure after this pandemic, our whole world is going to be something totally different of the norm that we knew before, as far as flying, as far as going to restaurants, as far as, right now they talking about handshaking is going to be something of the past. And that right there is, it's hard for me, sometimes to not want to shake somebody's hand too. So it's crazy how life is going to be totally different after this pandemic in every way for so many people, if they're thinking about their health and their safety for themselves and their families.
Do you think though, that once everything gets back to normal, we're running regular shows again, WWE's touring the nation, all this stuff. Do you think that a lot of these guys or some of these guys might be coming back? Like I'm already hearing Sarah Logan was released, and I'm already hearing that she's on her way back already, just like a few days later. Guys like Mike Chioda or a lot of the road agents, the Lance Storms of the world, the Kurt Angles, the Gregory Helms, some of these guys who they don't really have a lot of work to do for the road agents right now because they're not on the road. Do you think that these guys might come back and we'll see them again?
Yeah, I'm sure if everything get back going, I'm sure a lot of those guys there were producers. From what I was reading, and those guys were furloughed. So everything come back and they start doing shows. They're going to need those guys. It's not. It's just a matter of fact. They're going to need bodies, and that's what that right now we got too many of. Right now they can't even sell any oil right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're giving oil away.
They're giving oil away just because, man, we ain't got nowhere to put it. When we can't sell it because ain't nobody driving nowhere. You know what I mean? Ain't nobody flying nowhere. So it's definitely going to be a lot different.
Yeah, it's just it all sucks. Everything sucks. You don't want to hear anyone lose their job. So I'm hoping that, and then you even see like Drake Maverick, who put up this video and he's got tears in his eyes, and you could tell he's just such a huge fan of the industry, and it meant so much for him to be a WWE superstar. So much so he's still competing in the cruiserweight tournament that's going on right now. He said, "I still want to do that. Let me do this, so I can go out, I guess, on a high note." It just sucks. It sucks for everybody. You don't want to see that. You don't want to see anyone lose their jobs. So, and people that we know, I mean, most of these people, but even people that I know over there, got to let go. It just sucks. It just sucks. But hopefully they'll come. Hopefully everyone comes back when the money comes back, when the business is rolling again. It's just it's what everyone. And the thing is, I saw people attacking the WWE for doing this, and I know it's easy to do that. It's easy to say, "Oh, y'all got the money," but we don't know that. We don't know the financial situations that everybody's in. At the top, every company. Not just the WWE, every company is doing this, and every company is getting hit the same exact way. And, you can't blame somebody for trying to make sure that they can keep their business afloat through the storm. And that's just the reality of the situation.
Yeah, it's easy to, like I say, comment. It's easy to judge how somebody is doing something. And myself, like I say, I don't judge people situations unless I'm in that exact same situation. All right. And I'm not going to judge them. I'm going to, refer to, the way I would handle the situation if it, was to happen to me. I know with, just like I say, reality of wrestling, every time someone comes to reality of wrestling, they get paid. They get paid some money. And right now we can't pay anybody any money because we don't have anything going on. The couple of employees that we have, we're making sure they still, getting money in their pocket and trying to make sure they get through this thing just as well. But just imagine if we had 50 employees. Just imagine if we had 100. We would have had to lay off more than the bulk of the staff because we have zero monies coming in right now. And the government is not, we filled out to get that check. We were denied. We didn't get a dime because all of the like Tiger Conway said when me and my brother tried to go to Dallas, the money is gone. Ain't no use of going down there. The money is gone. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we're dealing with right now, man. So we're in the same boat as everyone else. WWE is in the same boat as all of these restaurants out there, all of these tech companies. Everybody is in the same boat right now.
Yeah. The money is gone, and hopefully they get it back. And the thing that though just kind of I don't know, it kind of ticked me off is they were like, people are like, well, you know what, you could have kept all these guys if you didn't bring back Goldberg, or you could have kept all these guys if Brock wasn't on the roster, or you just gave Edge a multi-million-dollar deal. You shouldn't have given that to him. And I'm like, guys, so wait a minute, let me get this straight. You're upset that WWE cut people because they lost their jobs. So your solution to the problem is for WWE to cut other people's jobs. You're asking for the same thing. I don't get that thinking at all. I really
Yeah,
don't, and
I
it bothers me to no end.
just think
Oh,
people.
look, right here, even in the chat, this guy right here. They could free up more money in WWE if they would just let Brock go. He's overpaid. You know what I mean? That's stupid. That's just dumb thinking. And thank you for watching, but it's flawed thinking to me.
Well, thinking like that is, like I say, you're not thinking from a business perspective. You're thinking with your heart. You know what I mean? When you think like that, you're thinking, I'm not down them or anything like that, but you're thinking as a fan, because some of those guys that got let go, you want to see them. You're missing them already. But one thing about this business, guys, is it doesn't stop. Every guy that's come through the business that's been let go, that's been fired, that moved on, the business did not stop whatsoever. You know what I mean? So all of the guys that got let go, I'm like I said, I'm sure those guys are going to bounce back. I'm sure those guys are going to find their way back. Most of them will find their way back to the WWE once this thing clear up. But as a businessman, thinking business wise, you got to be able to regroup. You got to be able to shift gears. You got to be able to be a problem solver when there are problems happening, especially within inside your company. Because therefore, if you just thought like that, you could end up losing your company. You could end up losing everything, thinking like that. And I think right now people are thinking about how can we sustain, how can we, find our way, through this dark spot and find light at the end of the tunnel, including myself. I'm saying that because, as soon as, this thing happened, I start thinking about, man, how long is, the company going to be able to keep, guys like me around that's not, doing a whole lot. My value is a little bit different, of course. I understand that, I'm still, still popular in a lot of ways. I'm still doing work, but I'm not immune. I'm not exempt from being, one of those guys. I'm like I say, I'm blessed, I'm fortunate. And like I say, hopefully all of those guys, if not the bulk of them, will find their way back or land on their feet. Like I'm almost sure they will.